All right, first things first, gotta lube up some squirrel's nut butter. Downstairs, under the armpits. Wow, hi there, Coach Sage Kende here. November 18th, 2020. We're gonna go out for an easy run, easy miles around the Boulder Res. Welcome to the second episode of Saving My Left Glute. We're gonna talk about my leg length discrepancy in general at the end of this video, but we're gonna get some action shots. This video is brought to you, of course, by the Patreon supporters that generously help support this YouTube channel, as well as things like title sponsor Hoka One One, keeping the dream alive, wearing the Rehe shoe today, Chorus Global watch, enter code SAGE for a free gift item, Chorus Global. What other sponsors can we plug? Oh, Roka, check out our landing page, Sandy and I have a landing page, Roka, sign up for 20% discount. One more commercial, Spring Energy. We have our new powdered drink mix blend. It's full of the electrolytes. It's got the carbs, natural sources, powder mixed with water, and a Camelback flask. All right, enter code SAGE for a discount. So really appreciate all the feedback and support in this first episode. You can check it out on the playlist, Saving My Left Glute. I do realize a lot of you had a lot of comments, great suggestions from athletic trainers about doing step-ups and exercises, as well as a lot of different theories on what could cause like muscle imbalances. And I know a lot of you maybe have suffered from a similar type of injury or pain. I will say though, as a non-medical professional, just getting experience as a coach, but also working in the industry, working at specialty run shoe stores, fitting thousands, well, hundreds at least, of people with running shoes. I've seen a lot of different injuries from all levels, beginners running 5K, advanced ultra runners, teenage kids to people over 70 years old. It is a bit of an individual thing, and there's a lot going on with the human body. I'm not going to be an expert or anything, just going to speak from my own personal experience. But, you know, there are certain things that lead to certain trends sometimes. For example, if you have tight hip flexors from sitting too much or running really high mileage and you don't stretch your hip flexors enough, sometimes that leads to anterior pelvic tilt, and that could lead to weak glutes, weak butt muscles, and tight hamstrings. That's fairly common, but you might have a totally different issue because of the shape of your pelvis, or just because your diet changes things within your body or something like that. And it does depend on your age and your training, how much you've been running, your running experience, what shoes you wear, and there's just hundreds of variables at play. So take everything I say basically with a grain of salt. All right, let's get out to the Boulder Res. It's nice and warm out there today. All right, here at the Boulder Res, Eagle Trailhead, with my friend Steven. Check out his channel. I'll link to it in the description below. Funny running videos. He's got a series training for 100K. All right. Good job, Steven. All right, it's a beautiful day out here on the water at sunset. Wind's dying down. My friend Steven, again, check out his channel. He's got funny running videos too. Link in the description below. He's doing a 6-mile up-tempo workout around the other direction, so I'm gonna meet up with him, help him get some action shots. I think I see him off in the distance. But yeah, just want to talk about a reason why my left glute might be a bit more atrophied over the years. And this is over 22 years of year-round running, right? 80,000 lifetime miles roughly. A lot of miles on the body, but the key might be in what we call a structural leg length discrepancy. One bone in one leg being longer than the other. It's actually fairly common. Most people are not perfectly symmetrical unless you're like a supermodel. And yeah, you usually are slightly lopsided. Well, 3 millimeter difference in legs, that might not be very significant. 5 mil, not very significant. It's very tricky to measure. I thought I could measure it myself with a tape measure. I thought maybe a PT or chiropractor could measure it. it's hit or miss on the measurement, because you could also have a functional leg length discrepancy where the muscles have been pulling on your bones kind of unevenly, and it makes it look like one leg is longer than the other. The only accurate way, and the way I did it, was to actually get x-ray done. An x-ray showing the bone measured with computer software. We found out my left femur, this bone here from the knee to the hip, is 7 millimeters longer than my right one. And I've always kind of known that, I've always kind of felt that. And you know, I've adapted to that. The body's amazing at adapting to these things, but over time, as you get older, as certain muscles get tighter and more imbalanced from whatever in your training or lifestyle factors, you might notice that more. And so that's what we're working with, and a main reason for a lot of injuries and pain and muscle imbalances. Here comes Steven. Good job, Steven. Yeah, oh, you're gonna feel the brunt of it on this turn, maybe. Good pace, good pace. Yeah, you got a lot of nice downhill here. Just ease, relax into it. Back in the apartment, the gym, aka the gym. But yeah, we're gonna do some exercises. Thanks for all your tips and suggestions. Again, you gotta take some things with a grain of salt, because people have different perspectives and experience, and I'm not very experienced with weightlifting, for example, so I have to start with basic exercises. And it's about, I think, getting the form right more correctly and trying to get glute activation rather than actually booty building, like massive hypertrophy types of strength. I'm not interested in that. I'm not going to lift really heavy weights. Obviously I could squat a lot more than this, but we're going to start with the goblet squat. Thanks for the suggestion, as well as the tips on the step up form. And this is just a 15-pound dumbbell. It's basically nothing. It's like doing air squats, but goblet squat, you could practice really good form, and I could get down a lot lower than if I had a heavy thing on my back. And the balance is a lot easier because my hip flexion, my flexibility is really bad. So it's important that I get good form in doing these lifts. So goblet squat, got the weight in my hands here. I'm gonna probably graduate at least up to a 45-pound barbell, because that would be still easy to hold. But you can start with air squats. Feet could change stance, maybe a little over shoulder width apart. And I'm trying to get down basically as low as possible. I can't go very low, but you know, I could do 20 reps of these with good form, squeezing my glutes at full extension here, really flexing those glutes together, squeezing the butt cheeks together basically, and then going down, trying to get maximum mobility. Again, I fall over backwards because my ankle flexion and my hip flexion is so bad, but I wouldn't usually hold it down too far like that. So critique my form, let me know. This is the goblet squat motion, trying to drive through the heels as we go up, because it's really when I'm lifting up there, I'm trying to use my hamstrings and glutes more than my quads. I don't want to use my quads. They're already too big and they're more stronger than my hamstrings and glutes. So get that flexion. Also flexing the core. I think my core got really weak, my stomach muscles, especially the lower ab muscles. And we'll do another exercise. So I do a bunch of reps of those, which I'll show you it here. So this next exercise is what we call the JLo. I guess Jennifer Lopez came up with it. That's just what the physical therapist told me. I don't know, I can't verify this, but I use it in my Coros Global core routine. If you go on the Coros Global app, you have a watch. You do inside gym exercise strength sessions. It's part of the core routine because I think it's really good at exercising your glute muscles, targeting all the glute muscls, but especially when you're lifting up like this, you're targeting the glute minimus and the glute medius, which is all about that, abduction, abduction, right? But stabilizing yourself. So basically, I use the mat because it's uncomfortable here, but we have kind of a flat wall. Ideally, you have a flat wall. And I'm gonna start with my left leg up first, but I'm gonna lay on my side. I'm gonna flex this lower leg into the wall and put my back into the wall. Keep my arms out like this, shoulders, so everything's pressed into the wall. Now I'm gonna lift up, and this leg's kind of bent at an angle here, but the foot's pressed into the wall there too. But this leg, I'm gonna keep my toes pointing outwards. And I'll lift up as high as I could go basically. I'm gonna go out towards that way. I'm gonna touch down as far as I can out from my body. I'm gonna straight back up, then pull it back, then down. That's one rep. So up, out, back down, up, And so this is really good because you're getting a lot of different motions around the hip, and it really flexes your core, but it engages those glutes like no other. And I guess the key here is I don't want to use too much of the outside of my thigh here. This is a TFL, IT band. Don't want to use my quad. Basically, you want to use, well, you're using some of your hip flexor probably, but mainly it's back in the gluteal muscles, glute medius, glute minimus, for this abduction, and then you're getting other motions here too with reaching out, obviously, and pulling back. And then in the other glute, I actually feel it as well, this leg bracing against the ground and my back against the wall. So do a lot of reps of these on each side, and it feels good, makes the muscles really stiff, shows off my weakness in those gluteal muscles, especially on the one side. All right, we'll switch sides here. So back against the wall, I got my left leg down low here, and I'm putting my foot into the wall, and then lifting this leg up, out, touching, pulling it back, all in the glutes, all in the glutes. So like I was saying at the res, 7 mil leg length discrepancy all in my femur, and it could be a factor. I don't know for sure. I don't have all the answers. I'm not a PT or a medical doctor or an expert on these things, but the general thing is you want to have a strong core, you want to be balanced, and I've noticed, you know, physical examination, you can see there's a difference in the butt cheek size, the left butt cheek. That's why this episode or this series is called Saving My Left Glute, because I've noticed, and I noticed even when I started running, when I was 12 years old, I was more likely to pull my left hamstring. Like my left leg was just weaker in general. So, you know, over time as you get older, those imbalances might show up, and it might change if you're running super high mileage, like I have a lot, and it might hurt your efficiency. So these things you have to address and do all these little things, the stretching, the mobility, flexibility, but then also building specific strength to address muscle imbalances. And you could have a very different condition than I have, for example. And it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell without getting some of this scientific stuff done. But I think it's worth it as a good investment for your health if you could pull it off. I've neglected it probably for too long, so that's why I'm trying to nip it in the bud, so to speak, now, and follow along with the series. Building strength, you know, it's something that is a good routine for runners to do anyway, some of these glute activation exercises and strength work. Even if you don't have a gym, you don't have the fancy equipment, make do with what you have. So thanks so much for the Patreon supporters. Again, we're going to talk more about this in future episodes and running form stuff, and hopefully as I ramp up my training here, got some exciting announcements coming your way. But thanks to title sponsor Hoka One One, keeping the dream alive, all you Patreon supporters, keeping this channel afloat. Hope you're doing well, hope you're staying healthy. Be sure to subscribe on here, like these types of videos if you like them. Stay tuned for more VO2 Max Productions. Time to lift.